Grief has taught me the deep love he has for me. Grief has taught me the deep love I have for him. Grief and this whole experience has taught me that we made a good life. It was messy. It was beautiful. And I'm glad I did it. And I was sitting there when he took his last breath, and what a gift. What a gift. It wasn't grief, it was a gift.
This is Nadine Cooper. Every once in a while, you sit down with someone whose wisdom hasn't come from reading about life. It's come from living it. Today's guest is my longtime friend, Nadine Cooper. Nadine has spent decades helping people heal through energy work and belief coaching. But more than any title or certification, she's someone who has quietly spent a lifetime helping people remember who they really are. We talk about grief after losing her husband, why so many of us stay trapped in stories that no longer serve us, what forgiveness actually does, how change happens, and why our worth has never depended on our circumstances. If you've ever wondered whether people can really change, or whether you can, I think you're going to love this conversation. I'm Steve Harris, aka Rivers. This is the Grandpa Channel. Let's listen. Today we have a great guest, and I've really been looking forward to this interview. A wise and wonderful woman by the name of Nadine Cooper. And Nadine, welcome to the Grandpa Channel.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
No, really, are you glad to be here?
I am glad.
I guess tell us just a little bit about yourself, maybe in a small arc of your personal story.
Yes, I grew up in Twilla. We've traveled around during our married life to several different places in the West. I have a degree in speech drama, PE and art, and then master's degree work and I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist as well as an internationally certified trainer and facilitator. I have a Thursday night thing on Facebook, and if I learn how to do YouTube better, I can put it on YouTube. And if I can wrangle my grandkids, I do that. I have 6 children and 23 grandchildren, and my son just got married, and which gave us 3 great-grandchildren. I love being with my kids. Since I was young, I had people come to me, talk to me, tell me things that they don't tell anybody else. And what I believe is that I'm here to assist and heal the hearts of mankind and to bring them closer to their Savior and to who they really, really are.
Mm-hmm. What a wonderful way to introduce yourself. And I'd like to point out that your husband, Hal, passed away about 1.5 years ago. So you are a widow, officially a widow. Based on you're 39, aren't you?
I am, most definitely.
What has life taught you the hard way, Nadine? Looking back over these the decades of your life here on planet Earth.
I don't think life is hard. I think it has hard moments, but when moments are really hard and life is hard, to be close to the Lord helps, and to be grateful. To be grateful. There's always something to be grateful for. And when I'm grateful, life is better. It's really interesting. My dad died when I was 2 and my sister was 3 months old. So my mother, being a single mother and raising 2 kids, she was grateful that she had an education. But what that did is that hard piece, there was always a longing for a father. But what that did for me is gave me a bigger view on life, to be kind and to look forward to what comes after this life, that life is much bigger than this, and this is for only a moment.
You've spent years helping people change. what first made you interested in understanding why people behave the way that they do?
That's a very good question. When my son had gone for treatment and he was using alcohol a lot, my sister-in-law said, "You need to take him to these personal growth trainings." And so I took him to these personal growth trainings. And at that time, I was just so weighted down. And I was a good victim at that point in my life.
Mhm.
We lived in Oregon at the time. I came to Salt Lake, put him in the trainings. And then the gift was the lady that owned the place took me by the hand and shoved me into the training. She said, "You'll figure out how to pay for it," which I did. But that started me down that growth road of I have choice to be who I am. Therefore, other people have choice to be how they are. And I've always been interested in how people work. And then when I found a way that I can work with people so they change, um, it really opened up a big arena for me to be of assistance, because I think, people can be victimized, but they don't have to be victims.
Mm-hmm.
And suffering is optional. Stuff happens, and we may suffer for a while, but it doesn't last forever. People that suffer, it hurts my heart, and I think that you have a choice to do something else. And if I can facilitate that and have the Lord work through me for them to make a change, then that makes me feel good.
Let me ask you this question. Do you feel like is change possible? I know that you probably do, but it seems like change is really, really hard, even if you just think about yourself, but with other people. Was change possible, Nadine?
Thank you. That's a really good question. First of all, we decide whether our cup is half full or half empty by the time we're 18 months old. That's quite a hard one to change because it's so deep. And then because we develop a story about the world, when trauma happens, I'm trying to think of an example. We can either decide that it really sucks and we're really bad, or we're good. You look at people who've overcome the ghetto, but we start to write a story and we stick to that story. And people get so invested in their story, they leave gold on the floor. Mm-hmm. And their story, people will die for their story. And people that have been abused, it's hard for them to forgive because they think then that makes it okay, and it doesn't. Forgiveness is for the person, the victim. And to forgive is to free you up to write a new story. It doesn't mean you go back. The wonderful thing about our mind is that we can step out. We're the only species that can kind of step out of our mind and view what our mind is doing or has done. I'll give you an example that I had. This was a hard time. So when I was 11, 12, they did daddy-daughter days. So they had little things and you danced and daddies came. And I didn't have a daddy. So my uncle came one year. And then when I was almost 12, the teacher had her husband come. And it was so miserable. Oh dear, it was miserable. And I thought, what's wrong with me? Nobody likes me. It was just an awful time. And because we're the center of our universe, that meant it was all my fault and I did all this stuff or not. So what I did was I went back and I kind of stepped back from it and I looked at the situation from everybody's point of view. And what I learned, because now I'm older and I have more resources than I did at 12, is I saw that poor man was so uncomfortable. He was so shy. He was just so out of his element. He was doing this for his wife because he loved her and he could hardly wait for it to be done. It wasn't even about me. We were just trying to make good of a bad situation. But that freed me up to think better about myself so that I wasn't such an unwanted person. So change is possible. Good. If you change. What stops people from having change is what's called secondary gain. We're getting something out of it. Change is possible if we get way down deep. And then what I dive for is their beliefs. What's the belief that's running you? And what's the belief that's underneath that? Because you have layers of belief.
After all these years, what do you think people misunderstand most about themselves?
Their value and their worth.
Really?
Hands down. We misunderstand our capabilities too. Sometimes we play small, me included. We misunderstand what a miracle we are. We are absolutely the miracle that the universe created the world for.
Give me an example of that miracle or miracles. What are you thinking that maybe we don't fully quite understand or look at really carefully, but there are times when I feel like there's no miracles here.
Okay. Do we play it so small and think we cannot get out of the mess we've created? And so we stay. That would include abusive relationships. That would include work relationships that don't work. Oh, I don't have enough skills to go out and find another job. Nobody would want me. Always hold ourselves back. Do we trust enough to step into the abyss? I've got plenty of times when I should have trusted the Lord and I didn't. But I'm learning to trust more and more because we get so stuck in what we can see. And all we can see is this myopic view that's right here around us. When if we just take a step out into what if, then if I believe that I'm a miracle and I believe that God loves me, and I believe that all these hard times are to make me better, and I choose to look at it that way, then I'll be better. Then I will change. The fun thing to do is to, at the end of the day or even in the middle of the day, to say what your success for the day is. How have I changed today? Or what did I do? That's as simple as I made my bed. I stopped and I looked at the marvels around me. I looked at children play. That's the wonderful thing about being a grandparent, is we can watch children develop that we never watched when we had our own and we were so busy doing everything that we had to do. We can look at the miracles around us. That helps change.
Let's change gears for just a minute. And if this is too tender of a topic, we can certainly, move to another one. But
I cry, but I'll be okay.
That's totally fine. Losing your husband a year and a half ago changed your life. And looking back over the last year and a half or so, what has grief taught you that you couldn't have understood any other way?
Grief has taught me the deep love he has for me. Grief has taught me the deep love I have for him. Grief and this whole experience has taught me that we made a good life. We built a good life. We worked at it. We worked hard at it. It was messy. It was beautiful. And I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I could support him through his process. It was about a 20-year process of an enlarged aortic valve that made it so he could function less and less and less. And then I did not bring Kleenex. But then when he started, they said that you'll go down and down and then you fall off the cliff. And he just kept falling off cliffs. And bless that man's heart, things happened to him that I don't think he would ever have wanted them to happen. He was so gracious. He was so kind. I said, does it bother you that you're forgetting? He said, no, I think it's part of aging. But his brain was dissolving. So there was a lot of pre-grieving that went on. The grief has made the spirit closer to me. And I am so optimistic because my cup is half full. One more. We're going to get past this. It's going to go. It's going to go. But then it just slowly crept in that this would be the end of this part of his life. And now looking back, I have a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda, should have stayed more, should have done more. At the time, I did the best I could. I remember my mother taught me when she had to put her second husband in the care center, she didn't go over and stay all day. She came a couple of times a week because she took care of her. And so I learned during this pre-grieving process to take care of myself. It has cost me a bit of health issues. However, I did the best I could. And the grief because of what I believe and know is that it's not the end. And if, in fact, the next life is here, I feel him. It's so sweet because when I don't feel good or I'm really grieving and feeling sort of alone, he will come for a moment. He'll pass through. He'll come. And he has a special way of coming that some people might think is crazy, but they can mess with electricity, and he does turn the light on.
Really?
He does. He turns the light on his side of the bed.
Really?
He does. And we learned that when my sister was dying and when my mom was dying, the spirits turned the lights on. I'm here. I'm here. So in my mind, there is no doubt of the reality of what comes next. Mm-hmm. So grief has taught me to stick closer to the spirit and to think bigger, to learn more. Yeah.
What has surprised you about grief?
I think because of my dad dying, always thinking about the next life and being with him. That's part of the continuum. What surprised me is he stayed longer than he needed to because he knew I didn't like to be alone. And I have not felt alone. It's been okay. I have my granddaughter here and she comes and goes because she's in school and I see her like for 10 minutes a day. But it surprised me how I don't feel alone.
Really?
That surprised me. Yeah. Because I like to be with people, but I'm okay here. Another thing that surprised me is the day before when he was getting ready to die is how much I felt the spirits here. I felt his mother and father and my mother and it's hard to describe, but the feeling was surprising. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, very special, very sacred.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the fact that he was able to die at home was so sweet. And I was sitting there when he took his last breath, and what a gift. What a gift. It wasn't grief, it was a gift.
What do people often get wrong when trying to help somebody who's grieving, Nadine?
We often, me included, here's what you need to do. Well, if I were you, and when people are grieving, they just want to tell their story.
Yeah.
So my job is to listen.
Yeah.
And my job is not to go, well, when my husband died, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. When my mother died, blah, 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 blah. When my daughter-in-law was dying with cancer, blah, blah, blah. No, I've done that. We've all done it. We've all done it. So that's I think what we get wrong. And a grieving person just needs somebody to talk to. That's all.
What kind of a question would you ask a grieving person?
What do you miss most?
Really?
What do you miss most? Because when people die, what we miss most is not as much them as the patterns that we had. Did you lose your pattern of making coffee or breakfast for him or her or going here or there? What do you miss most? Or how is it? How are you doing doesn't quite do it. Because that's the old cliche of, oh, I'm fine, because I am fine, but what do you miss most? What? I'm not to the point yet where I think a lot about the nice times, because the hard times are still there. But what do I miss most will get people started.
What do you think of the question, and I'm guilty of asking this question, people who are grieving, of what can I do for you? Does that put an undue burden on an already grieving person, or would you phrase it differently, or is that an okay question?
Well, we're tuned to say nothing. I'm fine. Are we used to receiving? Have we been willing to let ourselves receive? I'm still working on it, and every time I think I've got it conquered, I don't. I think the biggest thing people should say when you say, is there anything I can do for you? Please listen. Please listen to me. And when one of our dear friends, Margaret Sadowski, when her husband died, she said, please don't forget me. That's what she asked for. And I think, what can I do for you? Don't forget me. Please include me. Please. Well, for me, it's like, please keep contact with me. Please look. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the question. Is there anything I can do for you? That's really a yes-no question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no. The better question might be, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Do you need to go get a Coke? What do you need to have a visit? Do you need to would you like to go for a walk? Think of something you can do little. It doesn't have to be big. I'm here to listen, because really the best, and I've told several people, because of where I've been with legal stuff, when your time comes, I'm just more than happy to help you through the mess, navigate. And do you have this? Do you have that? There may be things that you have expertise in that you could assist them with. But yeah, the better question is, what do you need? What would you like? What do you need? Mm-hmm. What can I do for you? It's a what question, not is.
So switching gears a little bit, let's look at relationships where the person is alive rather than killed. What do you find is the biggest misunderstanding that people have about healthy relationships?
Well, early on, the biggest misunderstanding is that you can read my mind. Yeah, and you're supposed to know what I want and need.
Yeah.
And my personal life, when we were first married, I assumed he would like to communicate more than he did.
I don't think you're alone in that.
So we had years of learning to communicate and
Yeah.
him speaking and and building a rapport together. And sometimes he said, "Oh, and you're supposed to do this," but again, that goes back to communication. Um, Misunderstandings. You've got to have your values match. A misunderstanding might be that you should like to do the things I like to do, which is not necessary.
Oh.
It's not true. If your values match up, then you have well-rounded children that like to do some of what each one of you like to do. Another misunderstanding is that we're going to live happily ever after, forever, and that doesn't happen. And I get clients that come in and want me to change them, and you can't change anybody. You can only change yourself. So that's a misunderstanding that I sure hope we have less and less people going into marriage to change somebody. You don't, whatever bothered you to begin with only grows in a marriage. It just gets bigger.
I'm laughing nervously, not.
I know.
Marriage is perfect, but just laughing nervously for other people.
Because it's true, isn't it?
It is.
The little things that were, oh, that's no big deal. And then you get married and it grows and it grows.
Well, and it's complicated by relationships you have with your kids, their spouses, and kind of a good news, bad news joke. The good news is families can be forever. Yeah. Bad news is families can be it's hard to get through that sometimes. Right. And see the people I love the most, and I want to kill them.
I know, yeah. And why did you marry that person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yes. And then when we're young and we get married, we think, what I do only matters to me, but that's not true. And I'm only marrying this person. No, that's not true. You're marrying their family. So you dang well ought to pick a family that matches your family.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing it all in. And I heard a thing once, when you're in bed, it's not just the two of you. It's really 8 of you or 6 of you, because you've got mom and dad. I mean, it's a system. And we really think that we live in a bubble.
I like the idea of you saying it's a system.
Yeah.
I think, and it's a system that we may or may not be fully aware of.
We're not. Yeah. I studied the Hellinger model, and it's so interesting to see when we enlarge our point of view to see the systemic piece and how we repeat patterns. And here's another thing I thought of before we got on there. You're going to marry your mother or your father, and you're going to be mad about that. So get over the judgment. Yeah. I absolutely married my father. I married the stories my mother told me about my father.
Yeah.
And my girls have married their father.
I've always thought that a good book title, I'll let you write it, that it would be My Mother, My Wife. I think that kind of has a nice...
My father, my husband. My other book title is If I Talk to You the Way I Talk to Myself, I Wouldn't Have Any Friends. I think another misconception is that we're not ever going to grow old.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And nothing's going to happen. It's going to be all roses, and you don't grow that way.
No. So this is a tough question. I'm going to ask you to be honest, but you are honest.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Have you become more compassionate as you've gotten older? And if so, why?
Because I want people to be compassionate with me.
Those are selfish motives, right?
Well, we don't do anything. There isn't something in it for us. There's something in it for us. Yes, I have become more compassionate. Become more compassionate because I see their suffering and I want something better for them and better for me. And I think we have the ability to become more compassionate or hard. It's a choice, because of what we go through.
Mm-hmm. Nadine Cooper, what superpowers have you either been blessed with from birth or have picked up along the way? Give me a couple of ones that pop into your minds, and then give me an example.
Okay. First of all, gifts and talents are given to you, and with practice, they become a skill. And so, what I've practiced, I am gifted with the gift of rapport.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of interesting because it's kind of interesting to acknowledge myself and not be bragging. I am gifted with the gift of rapport. I'm gifted with the gift to heal. I'm gifted with the gift to have the Savior work through me. I am gifted with the gift to make hard things simple for people to understand. Complicated things simple. I am gifted to see the big picture. I have developed a gift of compassion and love. And I think another gift that I am gifted with is a gift of spirituality. Mm-hmm. To know and seek after the best things. When we lived in Oregon, we were in one of the 10 most remote spots in the United States. Hal was a chemist, a chief chemist in a silver mine. And so he was 20 miles away up on the mountain, and we were 75 miles from the grocery store. And so it was Christmas Eve. This is a big family story. We started a tradition to stop the hubbub and have clam chowder and rolls and read the Christmas story. Okay, we were right in the middle. We were starting that, and we got a call from the local policeman. There was a woman who was with a truck driver. She was schizophrenic, and she wanted out. She didn't feel safe, and she got out and walked through the snow a couple of miles to a ranch house, and she wanted to stay with a Christian family. And so the policeman brought her to our house. And so I gave her the robe I had made, and we put her up for the night, and we took care of her, and we had Christmas presents for her Christmas. And then the next day we got a bus ticket for her because she wanted to leave. She had to get out. And so we sent her on a bus to Salt Lake. Never heard from her again. But the gift that was to our family to have compassion enough to take her into our home and to feed her and take care of her was one of the big lessons of our family.
Oh.
And people that are homeless on the street, I think it's a gift for us to send energy and a prayer and see them and say, God bless you. Even if we just think it, that matters, because thoughts are matter. Thoughts make a difference.
I'm so appreciative that you've shared your gift and gifts with us on the Grandpa Channel. Thank you, Nadine Cooper.
Thank you for inviting me. I loved it. I'd be happy to come back.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much. If there's one thing I kept thinking about after this conversation, it was how often we underestimate ourselves. We think we're stuck. We think we're broken. We think our story has already been written. We think that the train has already left the station. Nadine gently reminds us that none of these things have to be true. Every story has two stories, the one you just heard and the one it stirs in your own life. If you'd like to spend a few minutes with that second story, we've created a reflection journal with a few prompts inspired by today's episode. You'll find it in the description. Because here at the Grandpa Channel, we believe we're all more alike than different. Every person has a story, and every story helps us see our own a little more clearly. Until next time, this is Rivers from the Grandpa Channel signing off. Keep looking for the stories that connect us all.
What do you miss most?